Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. And I hope that what I have to say now, doesn't upset too many people. But I think it's the right time now to say it. At the moment, you are witnessing Bible prophecy being fulfilled with what's going on with Russia, what's going to go, and what's about to occur with the Western world. What you're seeing is the prophecy of Daniel. It is the king of the north pushing the king of the south. This is what happens in the time of the end. It happens after apostasy's been revealed, and it has, because the end doesn't come until apostasy comes. That's what the scriptures say. That's if you are a believer in the scriptures and a theologian and wish to learn more. The start of Brexit was the time, what we call the politically divided period of the time of the end. And now that's passed. We're now into the king of the north pushing the king of the south. Now, this will be a confrontation between the two superpowers. They're known as kings in the Bible, but symbolically speaking, it's about two super nations and their allies pushing each other. They're like sworn enemies, and they engage in this pushing and shoving. This pushing and shoving is happening right now between Russia. Ukraine is involved with it, but primarily the important prophecy is Russia. They've been identified as the king of the north of the book of Daniel. And Anglo-America, the United States and the UK are the other king, along with Anglo-America's allies, NATO. Eventually, and that time isn't just yet, but eventually, all these superpowers will be brought to one place. And from that place, they will suffer a complete and utter slaying of not humankind, let's say. But we're not at that point just yet. The pushing and shoving will continue. While the pushing and shoving continues, the world will go into a Great Tribulation. This is not a recession. This is not some iffy thing that we've had in the past under Thatcher. This is not something that you've ever seen before. This is a unique, one-off event, never to be repeated. It is a tribulation. Once we enter the tribulation period, we enter into a judicial judgment period. That means that if we were to die during the tribulation period, that would be the second death, of which there is no resurrection. If we die before the tribulation, in fact, if we're looking for salvation and we want to find God before that time, then you might say that the gateway to salvation is still open, but that gateway will shut. I'll explain it this way. Let's look at Noah. At the moment he got inside the ark and the rains came down, then the door to the ark was closed by an angel. Also, the Bible tells us. There was no salvation then on offer to anybody that was outside the ark. In fact, they'd missed, I know, excuse the pun, but they'd missed their boat. I think that's where it comes from. They'd missed their boat. No salvation, cut off from life. And that was a judicial period. We're going to have another judicial period, another global cleansing, but not with man using nuclear weapons to do it. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment and a lot of people waking up to the lies and the deceit that they've heard since their birth. All cards will be on the table in the final last days. Everything that you may have known about since your birth may yet prove to be just a lie. This is what I'm expecting. You may find out about all the past atrocities, the things that the Western media and the media manipulation machine has fed the people of the world. You may find out that they've been feeding you lies since your birth. This is what I expect. You'll find out perhaps about the Twin Towers. You'll probably find out about JFK and about everybody that has been murdered in the past and it being kept a secret. Because the book of Revelation is what it is. It is to remove the veil from your eyes. This is what the serpent and the beast system has been doing since your birth, blinding you, not allowing you to see the real truth. That is why it is essential that you get spirituality in these final last days, because there will come a time when there will be a separating between those that serve the beast system and those that are supporters of God's messianic kingdom. The rejection of God's messianic kingdom during the tribulation is likely to mean the second death. The second death may sound quite formidable, but I'll explain it this way. It just means it's eternal death, of which there is no resurrection. Currently, there is a resurrection if you were to die before the tribulation. That's why Christ gave his ransom sacrifice, to balance the scales of imperfection and to open the way from death to a person having life. That's why he offered his perfect human body up in exchange for what Adam lost. That's what it's all about. And it also goes back to Genesis 3:15 about two seeds, the seed of God's woman and the seed of the serpent. Well, this fight that started then is going to be finished just after the tribulation, when Satan and his demon empire and all his influences are going to be abyssed and removed. We are getting close now to the start of the Great Tribulation. I feel it. It's something I've studied for 50 years. Since I've been a little boy, I still feel as if we are on the precipice of that tribulation. When that happens, people, when that happens, you have to expect that money and gold and silver will not be able to buy you salvation, because they will become worthless. They will not be able to be considered of any value. You can't eat gold bullion. You can't eat diamond rings to survive. Bread and water will be the prized commodity during this time. Now, partway through the Great Tribulation, we don't know when, but partway through the tribulation, God decides that's it. And he intervenes into human affairs. When he intervenes into human affairs, he puts a sign in the sun, moon, and stars as indelible evidence of his existence. And this is going to be a big blow to all the atheists when they see this, because they're suddenly going to realize and lament about what they've just seen. Indelible evidence of God's existence is coming, people. And it will all happen within the season. But you have to understand what Jesus Christ meant when he described the season. This was something that the apostles asked him. When will you come back? What will be the sign of your presence and the conclusion of the system of things? And he said that all these things will take place within a season. Well, hear me out on this. You've had pestilence. You've had a pandemic. Pestilence. You're in a global conflict that could lead to an all-out war. That's actually two horsemen of the apocalypse. You will have famine and death on a global scale. And all these things will occur. They will run concurrently, side by side. And at that point then, Christ will descend on the earth and do battle with man's military powers, the powers of the United States, Russia, China, the UK, France, Germany, all the superpowers of this world. They make up Gog and Magog. And that is prophesied in the book of Revelation, that they will be destroyed. And that is the simplest way I can describe what's coming. So my advice to anybody, and I'm giving this advice to myself as well, is not to support the beast system in these final last days, or you will be marked for destruction. You've seen the scripture in the Bible that talks about being marked on the forehead. Well, the angels will be able to see this, and they will know who is a supporter of the beast system by the marking that they'll have on them. To get the mark, you have to give a certain amount of loyal allegiance and loyalty to the serpent's beast system, the political beast system, the military beast system, all of it. And even Christendom, the world empire of false religion, will be included in that. I've not finished just yet. And during this tribulation period, the United Nations, which is the image of the beast, is going to be forced to do something against its will. It will not want to do this, but it will be forced. It is going to be instrumental in removing all religion from the world. All religion. And take steps to stop people practicing those religions. And this is going to prove a bit of a problem to the religion that will be identified in the last days as the one who the Almighty has been favouring since the start of the Gentile times. So you can all draw your conclusions as to who that religion is going to be. But I wouldn't do that. I would just watch out for it to happen. But if I could give any advice to keep anybody alive during this time, it is, do not accept the mark of the beast under any circumstances, even if it means you might starve. For it is better to die before the tribulation than die after the tribulation, because that would mean the second death, of which there is no resurrection.